Hey yo, welcome back to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and as always, I am joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What's up, Thorne?
Whoop whoop. What's
whoop,
up?
Whoop, yeah,
Still buzzing in the Juggalo world.
I was gonna say, are you still like relaxing? Getting back to normal life after the gathering?
No, because now I'm on a texting basis with Violent J, which I never thought would happen. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, now you're fully immersed in the Dark Carnival now, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a wild ride.
I would safe to say they think you did a pretty good job then booking everything and handling everything at the gathering, because he seems to be on a pretty good, like you said, a texting basis with old Violent J there.
Yeah, they seem pretty happy with it. They're super pumped that the belt was defended at Absolution on Saturday, and it's getting, obviously a good amount of social media play, which, they've been getting tagged in some stuff. So yeah, they're all in all, they're pretty happy with everything.
Well, before we get too far into things, we do want to thank our sponsors, as always. A couple sponsors. We did just come off our big Absolution show. A couple sponsors of that: Sick Things Clothing, IW Guide, Exchange. We got all kinds of partnerships going on these days, right, Thorne?
Yeah, we're looking for more.
Yes.
So you can hit up Jim at AIWrestling.com. We're looking, for advertising on the podcast, the live streams, the shows, social media shout outs. There's all kinds of different options. So hit up Jim, did I say vendor space? Yeah, there's just all kinds of, he's working on all kinds of stuff. So, and, shout out to, our big sponsor for the remainder of the month, which is the Great Lakes Geek Fest, who are putting on the Bill Alfonso Hardcore Tournament at the end of the month.
Yeah, that's the next thing in the wheelhouse for AIW, returning again back to the fairgrounds there.
And they've been, this is our third year working with them, and they've just been incredible partners for the, 3 straight years. I can't say enough good things about, all of them, Tony and John and Melanie, and the whole crew is just been awesome to deal with these last 3 years. And I'm hopeful that this one is, really, we've seen some growth the first 2 years, and I'm hoping we continue to grow with the third one coming up at the end of the month.
Yeah, they even came out to Absolution. I remember seeing a tweet or some sort of social media saying that, they were out selling tickets for that too. So they even they're coming to the shows, supporting AIW themselves, and they're really in the mix of things here.
Yeah, I mean, it's really an awesome story, like how we've even got hooked up with them. They really just want, they're kind of like, me with Cleveland, or whatever. Like, they're just like, we have no cool anything, in Ashtabula County, no cool wrestling or anything like that. We really want to bring wrestling to our area, and they reached out to us, and they've gone above and beyond for 3 straight years to get us out there, and they want to continue to make it like a yearly annual thing, and I just can't say enough good things about them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm bummed I'm missing it this year. Got some family stuff to attend to, but never fear. I got the backup. My backup's coming in, taking care of it, so don't worry about that.
It's all good. You got it all set up?
Oh yeah, yep. Got everything taken care of. My guy Brock will be there. Not only does he does barbecue, smoking J's, but my man is he's been involved in audio stuff his whole life, so he's gonna help me out, take care of things. I told him don't do too good of a job. I don't need to go losing my job to anybody or anything like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I haven't followed up with them, but I believe they're trying to secure a dunk tank.
Oh,
for the event, the kind of, it's the same thing as usual. They're going to open gates at 2, have some vendors and different things going on. Instead of podcasts this year, we're going to do some live AIW Academy demonstrations, and then we're going to mix in some kind of, loose Q&A sessions with various people that are there.
Are you finally going to get your dream of Duke in the dunk tank? Isn't that something that was thrown around for a little bit? I think, or like Wrestle Rage or something like that. We discussed getting him in there and just letting him just, make fun of people and have him throw at the dunk tank.
Dunk the Duke is my, if you want to talk about having a vision board, that is at the top of the money making ideas vision board. So I don't know if we're gonna get him in there or not, but. Worst case scenario, dunk Tyson Riggs is probably on the table.
For sure, you're in there. If you didn't know, now you do.
But I don't have confirmation if they have it or not. But I'm looking forward to it. It's a super fun day. It has been the last 2 years, and I'm sure that this year is going to be no different. So just wanted to give them a shout out because, like I said, they just are going above and beyond to kind of get AIW out there to Ashtabula County, and they're the ones out there pounding the pavement and hitting the streets and trying to get people out to the show. So got to give them a shout out. Follow them on social media too. Great Lakes Geek Fest.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you are coming to the show, which I know a lot of people are, sound off. Tag them, let them know. Hey, we want a dunk tank. We definitely be into that. Let them know. That's something you're into. If you are, let them know because like you said, they're very active on social media. So let them know. Give them a shout out. Let them know you heard here. You're excited for the show and you want dunk the Duke. Excuse me.
And they also have various shops out in Ashtabula County, out east that way. There's Chris Panzone has the In the Zone gaming, I believe it is, and Tony has Robot Zero Comics, and they're hustlers. They got all kinds of stuff out there. They're always trying to get different. They just want cool stuff to come to their area, which I mean you got to give them credit. They're doing it. They're the ones reaching out. They're trying to do all this stuff. They're putting conventions on. We've been in contact with them about doing something at their big convention, the Great Lakes Geek Fest in October. It's going to be in Geneva. So we're going to do some live matches and stuff like that there. Not like a full-on AIW show, but, it's going to be kind of like North Canton style with matches sporadically throughout the day and all that. So it's just it's become a great relationship with those guys and gals at the involved in the Great Lakes Geek Fest.
Yeah, Young Ed and I went to that Robot Zero comic shop last time. That was a cool store. And then also too at the Geek Fest, I mean they have all kinds of vendors. Last year and the year before, I mean they had all kinds of toys, comics, all kinds of collectible stuff. There was a lot of stuff to look through: merch, T-shirts, all kinds of stuff like that. So I mean I know we have a lot of fans who are into that type of stuff. It's more than just wrestling. It's like no wrestling, like very minimal wrestling. It's just and it's very much like pop culture stuff, and collectibles that that they're into. So anything I could do to help them out. They've been nothing but awesome to us. So I just want to put that out there into the universe. Yeah. The wrestling is very much just a portion of the show. There's so much more going on that day, which is why I've had so much fun every time. Last time we went out there, me and Paul Greer were buying WWE hobby boxes and ripping cards out there. Man, it was a good time. Yeah, and then they got that bar out there that serves the world's best burger. World's best burger, yes, exactly right. Yeah, I want to say that Artie Mack said that if Chuck wins the tournament, he's buying everyone around a world's best burgers. Whoever shows up after the tournament. Well, Artie's on a hiatus, so I think he's just throwing Chuck Stone under the bus there. Yeah, he's just right, exactly. Do you remember going to that? Did you go to that place with us last year? After? Yep. Yeah, I got called. They were so bad that all these people showed up in this bar that they did not expect to be they did not expect to be busy that night, and we were all like, we're here for the world's best burger, and they're like, what? We saw the sign. Yeah, right. You can't be putting the kind of sign up like that and not deliver, for it's the world's best burger. We're telling everybody, and they were freaking out. They're like, you better not tell any more people. And I I pulled out the AIW Twitter account. I was like, I got 29,000 followers. I just told them all to come here. I'm an online influencer. They were very upset with me. Oh, that's great. Yeah. That place was very interesting. I recalled a very mean name as soon as I walked in the door by just one of the random guys wearing a cowboy hat.
Local. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't like me. And I don't even know why. I didn't even do anything. I just walked in.
You fucking city boy.
Yeah, they did not like the cut of my jib at all.
Chuck Stone always tells that story, though, about how I told him I was an online influencer.
Local big shot online influencer.
I'm an online influencer food blogger. I have all my followers coming out here because we heard this is the world's best burger. We saw the sign. They were so pissed.
Yeah, it says it right on the sign, big and bold. You think they'd be proud of something like that? You know what I mean? She was like, "No, don't tell anyone else."
Yeah, she's like, "No, we're good. We're trying to get out of here early tonight." And I was like, "It's the world's best burger. What are you talking about?"
It was like a Saturday night too. Like you think they'd want to be busy too.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. That's next on the docket. I believe they have a couple front row tickets left, so we'll grab those up and let's. If you want to see this thing continue on, just like anything else, you got to come out and support it. So if you want more Fonzie hardcore tournaments, hope to see you on July 29th in Ashtabula.
Absolutely. Kind of a little segue into that. We want to recap Absolution a little bit. A lot of things happen at Absolution, especially with Fonzie, and where do we stand with Fonzie now, and who he backs and whatnot. You want to get into this Absolution a little bit here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I would like to recap it with like a group like Old School because just so much stuff has gone on.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, we can loosely kind of get into some things and go from there. I mean, it's just I gotta say though, I did tweet afterwards, but just really just incredible how a lot of the stories and different kind of long-term things came together. Even the stuff that wasn't super long-term but had a little bit of a story, I think just everybody was kind of on board with it all.
Yeah, it was some of them long road, some of them shorter road, but I feel like the entire card, the entire show all kind of culminated a lot of things that were like hanging over the last year or so in AIW, and it just was a great example of a lot of stories being told simultaneously to all come together in one night in kind of I think the show was paced really well. Like, I think I don't think there was ever a point, where it was like there was a lull or anything, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just a lot.
Yeah. It's just, it's just like one of those things to where it's like, I know that AIW, like, in a one-off doesn't always play well, and like we listen to the adjacent podcasts and we all hear the criticisms of this or that, and the thing that people don't realize is like there's 9 times out of 10 sometimes things just don't go well, but most of the time there's other kind of things at play in the situation, and we're trying to get somewhere else, which is, it's kind of weird, but like you don't see it a lot in modern indie wrestling. It's the model has changed to and it has been that way for quite a long time, but more so now than ever in this streaming age is it's just good wrestler versus good wrestler to try to get, or deathmatch for deathmatch to try to get the numbers up and to try to get a GIF that's going to hit, and then the GIF hits, and then you hope you get followers off of it. It's just like a weird game to play in independent wrestling right now, and like we don't play the game very well, I guess. But I think that we play a different game very well, and that's just kind of doing stuff like this. And if you look at that card, I mean, I think every match had somebody come through the school one way or the other. You know what I mean? Like, the only one that you could technically say is Jocelyn versus Ziggy, but Jocelyn had kind of transferred to the school, and Ziggy came. We kind of discovered Ziggy. She did when we were doing the New Talent Initiative camps. Pre-COVID. She did one of those, and that's where we kind of found her, and it was like a long 5-hour camp or something like that, and that's kind of where we got hooked up with her. So I mean, that is what is most amazing when I look at it, it's like, man, we have like really not only cultivated people to fill spots, but cultivated people that this fan base is on board with and, looks at as, stars, right? Like Joshua Bishop is no longer AIW student Josh, he's Joshua Bishop. And, same could be said about Wes Barkley or, so many other people at this point. They are, found the foundation now of this promotion. And, that takes a lot of time to, invest and build that equity up with fans. And, there was definitely some growing pains, over the years. And, now it's all kind of paying off. Somebody tweeted like, this is the best show since Mount Carmel. And it's like, no, dude, we've been doing good shows for a while. I think you just finally have bought into the new talent, you know what I mean, and the new presentation and all that, if that makes sense.
It finally clicked for them. I also think a big thing in what you're saying, especially with Ziggy and Jossie, is how, especially with how highly touted Joss is in the women's division, and how much backing now Ziggy gets, and especially here the crowd in the last show. It's for two ladies that didn't come from the school to graduate, go through the whole thing, like you said, they kind of came in at different places and whatever, but eventually became ingrained in the school. For them to be as highly backed and as over, I hate to use that word or whatever, but it's kind of where they are. It shows that like it's been a long road, but people are finally buying in and seeing what we're doing is not just these super cards of names that you hear versus names that you hear. It all has a reason, and maybe it took a little longer for some people to get there and kind of figure it out, but I think everyone's kind of on the same page now of what we're doing here in AIW.
Yeah, and I mean, Broner, same thing, trained elsewhere, started kind of coming into, training at our school, almost like I don't want to say like kind of like a finishing or like a polishing, started coming down and doing sessions. So, it just, that is what I'm proud of, is like, you could say a lot of things about AIW, but, we are really focusing on putting talent out there for the future, and we're not putting out indie wrestlers. We're trying to put out talent. You know what I mean? There's a difference, and that's not a dig at indie wrestlers either. We are independent wrestlers. We're just trying to we're not saying, hey, go out there and try all this crazy shit. Like there's a method to, how we're teaching things and how we're presenting people. And, this sounds like a little pretentious or something, but, it's just Absolution, I think, shows that this is working, and like, we're, look at Derek and Wes, right? Like, Wes is a from scratch guy. Derek is another kind of, one of these transplant types that is now, teaching classes at the school.
Right. Mainstay there.
The people were going nuts for them. You could go to any other show in the state and you're not going to see a reaction like those two guys got. They stood there for 2 minutes and the crowd chanted, "Let's go Derek, let's go Wes." Like that's fucking sick. You know what I mean? Same for Broner and Cardona. A lot of matches were getting those kinds of reactions, and it's just like you're not seeing a lot of these guys on a lot of shows throughout the country.
Yeah.
Which is whatever, but like in our little corner of Ohio, and like I've said before, like it is a credit, and I said it last week, it is a credit to our fan base who, while sometimes can be uber critical, like I think the light bulbs went off for quite a few of them at Absolution. Like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I see it now, and like they realized that maybe they were being frustrated on purpose. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that was part of the process to get you to that point and to get you to, these reactions, right? Like, I do think that there was people that in the back of their head were going, I think Cardona's going to retain just cause, like stuff like that is like, that is what I think just makes pro wrestling so great and the live experience so great. And I don't know how it plays to the stream, but man, like live, like just such an electric atmosphere. And like, I'm going to point to Caden, right? Like Caden like had a tweet that was like, I was very skeptical of this card. And like, you got to analyze that statement, because people are skeptical because it is not the traditional, what is considered a big lineup in today's day and age, right? So
fly-ins and stuff like that.
Right. So like immediately the mentality is to be skeptical, but then like also on the flip side of that, Caden missed probably one show in the last 5 years or something. Mm-hmm. So like by default, like no matter what he's thinking, like he knows all these stories and he doesn't even realize it probably, right? Like, and following like another tweet he had was like, that was one of the best AIW shows of all time, right? And it's just like, you're skeptical of it because like you're not willing to kind of set aside like the standard that has been set, I guess, as far as the parameters of what is considered a big show in today's day and age on social media. But as an AIW fan, like, and you're living through it and experiencing it, I mean, that's the part where it's one of the best AIW shows of all time, right? Like, I don't know if I'm making sense, but
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Like, I think what is great is like our fan base, while, they, by default, you are just programmed to think that way. Everybody was on board that was inside that Masonic temple, and it was fucking packed, and it was fucking sweet that it was fucking, people were fucking jammed into that fucking place.
The Tadmore.
Yeah, the Tadmore. Yeah. And it was fucking awesome. Like one of the biggest crowds of all time at the Shrine we've ever had.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you said for Wes and Derek, I mean, they had those chants going, and we even said, like, not to too much in the back, but everyone in the back, we were like, the crowd is going absolutely berserk. They haven't even touched yet. And these people are losing their minds. Like, it was, yeah, absolutely electric for that, for sure.
And that's just the magic of it, right? Like, you're not going to see a fucking 5-star out of those guys, or probably anybody on the show, honestly. Like, it's just not in that wheelhouse of what we present and what we do, and maybe that's wrong, I don't know, but I mean, you can say they're the worst wrestlers ever, it doesn't matter, you cannot argue those reactions, you know what I mean? And like,
right, the
match was awesome, they told a great story, and like they did a lot of crazy stuff, and it just fed into everything. But if they go and have that match at 3-letter indie up the road, like, it's not going to be the same, because like we've built that equity up with our fan base, you know what I mean? And like, that's everything is in the back of their head, and like you got to shout out Chase Oliver too, the fucking hype packages and the promos, right, and like cutting all that shit together. And like, even if you don't know the story, like, he is just like spoon feeding you all the stories that we've been putting together. So it's like, a lot of them hit social media. The ones that didn't were played on the stream. You know what I mean? So it's just like, that is just the stuff. I mean, we're probably not going to get to too much of the show because we're already, I don't know, probably almost 30 minutes in at this point. But like, that is the stuff that I think is just so great. And I'm so happy that, like, like I said, I'm not singling them out, but like, there was plenty more, but I just specifically remember Caden's tweet about how he was skeptical about the show. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy that everybody that was skeptical about the show also came to the show and also went along for the ride of the show. And I think everybody was pretty happy with that.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of the live stream stuff, I mean, yeah, you could have watched on Fight Plus and only seen a handful of AIW shows of all time, or even in the last year, maybe a couple here or there, and you would still be pretty up to speed on what was going on and why it was going on, and could be invested from those packages too, because I mean they're all done so well. Yeah, that I mean it's it's a different kind of indie wrestling than other companies are doing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, like it's not for everybody. I get that, and like it's also very acceptable to be a fan that wants to go see something cool and disengage, and that's it. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to pay attention and follow 8,000 independent companies, and AEW, and WWE, and Impact, and Ring of Honor, and every fucking other thing. You know what I mean? So it is difficult, but I think that's just what's so great, that we've built this audience up, right? Like, you know, like it is like going to a family reunion, you know, kind of full circle to a fucking little Juggalo experience we had a couple weeks ago. But like, it is like going to a family reunion, and like you were, you know, in that, you know, on the other side of that rail, and like,
oh yeah,
you know, these fans, you know, they show up hours early, they hang out, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's, you know, hanging in the parking lot. When it was at the Odeon, people were in the parking lot across the street. You know, when it's the Shrine, everybody's out there. You know, like, people just, they come and they hang, and like, it's like you're going to see your friends, and like that community continues to grow, and you know, that is just what is making the whole fucking thing work. And you know, there's just so much that, you know, I'm so like typically like negative or like not happy with stuff, but that stuff is just has me so ecstatic. And like, you know, even the fans that are in that family and are so critical of everything, like it doesn't matter, because like at the end of the day, they are still following along. And I think, you know, like they're critical of the things when they're not realizing where it's going, you know, like sometimes, you know, you're not going to have we're going to put a match out there that's not supposed to be great. Like a perfect example is like, oh, you know, like, when we announced Philly versus Broner and Youngstown, like I saw complaints like, I already saw this match in the J-Lit, you know, like I already saw this match.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, but like, just wait. You know what I mean? Like, you have to wait and see. There's like a whole fucking plan for this. There's been a plan for this fucking for a year, you know, like you gotta wait, and you gotta wait and see.
Sometimes I think that our fans are smart. They're not just typical like ding dong wrestling fans who just whatever. I think we have a lot of fans who are smart and think that they know where things are going and or why they want them to go away or whatever. And I think you as a booker know that and take it into consideration. And a lot of times you throw little things or curves to try and get people off of what they, you know, because you're aware that people are smart.
You throw them off
like
the scent a little bit.
You listen to the shows, you read the tweets, you know that people know what's going on. So yeah, sometimes as a booker, you have to do certain things that are going to take people off of. Because, you know, people are, you're a smart wrestling fan. Do you want to know exactly what's happening at all times? It's like, do you want to watch a movie if you know what the ending is? No. So, you know, people have to buy in and be glad to be glad that you're a booker who, you know, is not just going to go start to finish in one straight line and lead you right where you exactly think it's going to be. Sometimes there's going to be stuff that's done on purpose to try and, like throw you off the scent or maybe make you think. Like you said, I know there was a lot of people who thought that Cardona was walking out of there the champ. I know a handful of people talked to me about it before the show. You know, so I mean, there's things are done for a reason, like you said, with the Philly stuff and all that. Everything is thought about, and nothing is really just thrown together.
And like, that's another thing that makes it great is like, you know, people have been mad, you know, at the 2 Cardona title wins, and it's like, it's all by design, right? Like, obviously, last year, Cardona was supposed to lose to Bishop in the big fucking whatever, and, you know, we had to stray from that, and then we came back, and, you know, by the time we get back into it, you know, it's Broner's time, so we got to go a different way, and that sucks for Josh Bishop, right? Like, because he didn't get his big Absolution moment with Matt Cardona, which I think would have been huge, and the build to that last year was amazing. You know what I mean? He got fucked in Akron, was going to get back in Akron. Mm-hmm. We had to throw we threw the Northwest Barbed Wire match out there for the sake of a big main event. And then by the time we got back into it, it's like we can't go back to that. People at that point it's too predictable.
Right.
So, we weaved these different things with the Fonzie turn, and you know what I mean? Like, the Broner injury almost did throw that, for a loop. And, it was always supposed to be Broner, but, I guess I could say it now. Like, if Broner wasn't ready, we weren't sure if it was going to be Josh. There was a case for Kaplan versus Cardona to headline Absolution at one point. There's a lot of different things, and like I think I guess maybe this whole podcast is going to be a little too inside baseball, but me specifically, like I will be open to listen to people in the locker room. And I am not scared to audible, but there was, listen, like it was supposed to be Broner, and credit to him, he worked his ass off to get back because he knew it was now or never for him. And, credit to him because, he got the big moment, and, credit to Matt Cardona for, people can say a lot about him, and, I don't want to, kill his gimmick or whatever, but, one of the most giving performers of all time. And, went out there wanting to, give Isaiah a big moment and, be a big kind of, launching pad, hoping that, he can continue his rise, not only in AIW, but wrestling as a whole. And I mean, you can't beat that, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was very, very much into doing his best of job he could for Isaiah because, like you said, I mean, he didn't get that opportunity with Josh, and he really that bothered him, and he said, I mean, because I don't know how much you want to say.
Yeah, I mean, he had offers to go to other larger paying shows, and he did not want to miss Absolution for the second year in a row because he wasn't able to do it last year, and he really wanted to do it this year, and he really wanted to do it for Broner, and he declined all the offers. And I'm sure they're probably going to be paying him more than AIW was going to be paying him, but he was very involved and engaged in in the story and what we were trying to accomplish, and credit to him, like still want you guys to boo him whenever he comes back, but like
right, yeah, I don't want to kill the gimmick too hard. It's just there's a lot thrown around about that guy, about money and him taking this or that or doing that, and I just think it was a point that needed to be made that he definitely turned down more money. Not saying that you don't pay him good, but
right,
he wanted to finish out what he had done here at AIW, and you know what I mean, and I think that says a lot personally.
Yeah, and I think there's just again, I just am so just incredibly thankful and happy for the fans, and you know what I mean, and then everybody, all the guys kind of get their small little pockets that come out too, and it was just like such a great, you know what I mean, like building blocks all over the place, right? Like, same thing can be said in the 8-man with, Cash is King against, Mikey, Balking Season, and Hardaway Holloway. Like, Mikey and Eric Taylor, when they were in the ring, across from each other for the first time, another dueling chance situation, mm-hmm. And it was just like, this is awesome, and it's just like nobody knew how the new group was going to be perceived. Nobody knew how, Mikey was going to be perceived, and like that is just a credit to the fans, and to be like, okay, you know what I mean, like maybe there's more to do here, right? Like there's more going on here. So
yeah,
you can't like if we did that show and nobody was reacting to anything and nobody cared, like, you know, I don't think any of us would be as fucking jazzed as we were backstage, you know, all night. But the crowd was fucking electric and just with it. And like, this is really just a podcast about just thanking everybody that, you know, did come out and did fucking, you know, was on board, and, you know, whether they liked it or hated it or were indifferent about it, when it kind of played along, I guess, you know, and like,
right.
You know, just kind of, you know, lived in that moment for, you know, the 2.5 hours or 3 hours or whatever it was. I mean, we were just all so happy with that, you know, and the guys and girls were happy with that too. You know what I mean? Like,
definitely,
you know, you got to understand, like, a lot of these people are wrestling in a lot of different places that are not like AIW, right? So like, it's a grind, you know, a lot of these bookings, you know, that some of these people are doing. And, you know, for them to go out and, you know, get those reactions and like realize that people are kind of on board and, you know, paying attention to what they're doing, and or you know, are, you know, just kind of just engaged and, you know, just kind of following and paying attention, like that is like, that means so much more to the performers than anything else, right? Like, sometimes they got to go to these shows and they got to, you know, they got to pull out like a slow clap or something, you know, like, and it's like, it's a lot of work. And like, to go out there and, you know, it was our big show, and for the crowd to treat the performers like it was a big show, like that was awesome.
Every match too, you know what I mean? There really was no lull in it. It seemed like the crowd was up for every match. Like I said, I think it was paced really well in the matches the way you booked it, but the crowd was definitely with it at all times, you know, and all night long.
Here's another kind of point, you know, like, and just my like praise for the crowd and just the AIW system and how that we have built this equity up, right? Like, I think the equity with the fans is so important, and the established history and like all that stuff. Look at our two fucking big surprises that were actually at the show, right? Like, and I won't reveal any of the other kind of cherry on top stuff, but Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham and Trey Lamar, two of the biggest fucking pops of the night, because they came back at Absolution, and it's just like, you try to have them be the mystery guys on some other show, and like, people are gonna go, what? You know what I mean? Like, this is it. But like at Absolution, it was huge. And again, that is just a credit to, you know, this long-term fandom that we have established with, you know, with the fan base. Like, Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham comes back at, you know, wherever he had wrestled previously. Like, I don't know, and that's no offense to him. Like, I don't know that he's getting that reaction. But like, these are two homegrown day one products of the AIW Academy. A lot of these fans saw their first ever matches, right? Like, they saw them grow. They saw them all sorts of different moments, you know, for years. And they've both been gone for years for the most part. I mean, Dan did the gauntlet, but for them to get like that sort of reaction from that many people, you know, like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're gonna want to join the Patreon if you're not already, because we did record a podcast, myself, Dr. Dan, and Trey before the show, and I just kind of went over some stuff with them. It's not very long. I think it's only got like 20-25 minutes, but it will be interesting now after the show to go back and listen to that, because we talked about some of that stuff and what it was like to be away and what they think, you know, the pop will be like, and it's interesting to listen to kind of their reactions to some of that. And I think the pop and the excitement for both of them was way beyond what either of them thought it was going to be. You know, I know a lot of wrestlers are hard on themselves, they're the biggest critics. They, you know, you kind of play the expectations low, you know, just in case. But I think the crowd reaction for both of them was just enormous, and it shows, like you said, you know, for some of these guys, I mean, they both came out of the same class in the school, I'm pretty sure, and to see, you know, a lot of, like I said, a lot of these these fans, Absolution fans, because Absolution's a show, like you said, it's a family affair. There was a lot of people in the crowd for Absolution that maybe hadn't been at the last 1 or 2 or 3 shows, but Absolution is a show that everyone shows out for. And to see those guys, like you said, as that surprise and get such a huge reaction really kind of shows the fans, investment in a lot of these characters. And that's just another kind of point back to what we're saying that AIW is doing, is building homegrown stars, not just wrestlers that can go out and wrestle at Wild Zero or Black Label Pro, any of these other names that you want to name. We're not just churning out wrestlers that can go have matches. We're building stars and people that tell stories and great characters in our environment, in our AIW universe, that people really give a shit about.
Yeah, and I just think it makes them more well-rounded performers, and like obviously, we want them to have good matches. That's, that is, paramount. But
sure,
I think, just like I said, it's just that just fan equity and that just trust that we've built with the fans over the years. I mean, like, that is crazy. Like, if 5 years ago, you would have told me, like, your big surprise returns are going to be 2 guys that came out of the school that haven't been around in 2 years. Like, at Absolution. I would have been like, no fucking chance that is ever going to work. Like, I'd be the first to admit that. Like, I'd say absolutely not. Like, there's no way that this is going to work. But, like,
right,
as things have just grown and, like, this fan base, like, I said it in a tweet, but, like, it really has become a community in Northeast Ohio, and people travel in. You know what I mean? Like,
sure,
you have people that are coming from Pennsylvania and all over Ohio, and Scott Random from Detroit, and
Goldstein's came from New York.
Goldstein's from New York, and the Dugans. I don't know if I'm saying that right, from Pennsylvania. Like, it just people are coming in from all over the place.
Yeah, they come in I think it's Duggan, but they come in
Dugans,
every show.
Duggans,
what I mean? Yeah. They come in every show.
Yeah, and it's just like it's this community, and everybody knows each other, and like it's just it's awesome. And I think kind of the collateral damage of that is like they know these characters and they know these talents, and like it's they're not coming like they're not coming to one show, they're coming to fucking 17 shows a year, like maybe they're missing a couple, but like for the most part they know what's going on, who's who, the history, everything. And it's just like that was what was crazy. Like, and what was crazier is like I knew that it was gonna fucking work. Like I said, 5 years ago I would have said fucking there's no fucking way we can do that. But 5 years ago we did not have that built up equity like we do now. Like we've had a great run of like great crowds and just support for quite a long time. But like 5 years ago, like that shit wouldn't have worked. You know what I mean? Like,
I think it's a big credit to you, not to, stroke your ego too great here, but I think it's a big credit to you and Dom and everyone in the back kind of who helps, book this stuff and steer AIW the way they do, because it's not, every match isn't a storyline where you got to pay exclusive attention, like, and if you look away, you're going to miss it. But it's peppered in along the way, and maybe took a little longer than maybe some fans wanted to finally buy in and see all this big, long story. But every show has had a little bit further and a little bit further. And like I said, it's not like every match, but if you're paying attention, you see it, and it all finally kind of culminated here at Absolution. It was really impressive to see it all kind of finally snake in and work back together in this one big show, and have it work in a way where the crowd got it and bought in all night and was hot for it. Was not, slow or like, okay, I've had enough of this, or, because there was a couple things, we'd seen Josh and Tom a few times, or there was some stuff we'd seen a few times already, but it never felt old or like predictable or anything, you know what I mean? Like, it all just really worked. And I think that is a credit to the fans too for buying in and taking the ride and letting you steer them, down the river to where you wanted to be.
Yeah, and like sometimes there are just matches for the sake of matches, and like and,
sure,
and you got to do that too. But like the Scramble is a perfect example of that. Like, no real story, but then all of a sudden the story is it's like these two guys that haven't been here in a while are now back. So now that's exciting, right? Like, just little things like that to where, like, I realize, like, you can't have fucking 8-9 matches that are all super story driven like that. But I mean, for the most part, this card, outside of the Scramble, which had that little story, everything had a little bit of something going on, you know, like some a little bit, some a lot of it.
Even the Scramble, too, though. I mean, you know, you had the 2 returns from 2 guys, but you also had 2 very recent graduates who have been kind of ascending the ranks in AIW and kind of trying to make a name for themselves and really show out in AJ and Vic Vice. And I think both of them had a really big showing at Absolution and made a point and made it a story out of you know, whatever, and made it, you know, a match that mattered. I know you say the Scramble was just kind of one that was there, but I think there was a lot in that one, to be honest.
Well, honestly, it had, like, it did have a meaning to me, but I don't know, like, I did not expect anybody to really pick up on it, but in my head, it was designed this way. It was the 2 brand new guys in Austin James and Vic Vice. Chase Oliver and Lewis Linden, who are this bridge from old AIW to new AIW. Like, they're like, you know, almost like the old guard. They're the bridge. They've Linden especially, but, you know, even Chase Oliver at this point, they've been around for a while, right?
Right.
And then Dr. Dan and Trey Lamar were this, you know, these kind of like old gunslingers returning. You know what I mean? Like, so it was like new, current to old, and then, you know, the older guys coming back. Which, it's kind of crazy to say Trey and Dan were the older guys, but that was older in the sense that they have not been around and active on the roster. So that was kind of how it was designed in my head, 2 and 2 like that.
Right. Yeah, that one, like I said, that's even the Scramble to me had some meat on the bone there. If you really, you know, for all the AIW really hardcores, I mean, we talk about it a lot. There are a lot of fans that come to every single show that I think kind of picked up on some stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I don't want to blow a spot right now, but you know, you got to give a shout out to Chase Oliver, who, I mean, just fucking the worst goddamn luck ever.
Yeah.
You know, him and Trey, you know, that's another little story that was in that Scramble. Former stablemates, former tag team, no consequences. They're getting ready to do their big fucking double crisscrossing moonsault dive that they did a million times. And Chase Oliver just, his foot gives out and he just rolls out. And, you know, Jeremy and Patty were quick to get back there and look at it and get them together. And, you know, it sounds like he's going to be out for quite some time. He is to, you know, he's been to the doctor already twice this week. One is pretty convinced that his Achilles is ruptured, which is a long recovery. And, but he still has to get an MRI for confirmation. But the doctor was pretty sure that there was going to need to be a surgery and there was going to be some recovery time. So, you know, that just sucks for him.
Yeah.
And I mean, also, what a fucking maniac. He gets everything wrapped up. He's obviously upset. And then he just tells observational banter, all right, move, and sits right back.
Step aside, son.
He sits right back down in the director's chair, and I was like, dude, do you want to go to the, like, he was just like, I'll go to the doctor later or tomorrow. Like,
oh, yeah.
He's like, whatever, I'm just going to see it through.
An absolute trooper, yeah. I was so sorry to hear, you know, of his injury. I felt so bad for him, but the guy is just a fucking maniac. He came back, and sat in the chair, and, you know, a lot of other people would have just left and said, you know, fuck this, I'm going home. You know, it's tough to, you know, to take an injury in any sport and be on the sideline like that and watch others perform when you can't. And very selfless of Chase to sit down in the director's chair. I'm sure Caleb could have handled it, but, you know, Chase wanted to make sure that everything was, taken care of and all that. And yeah, he sat right there in the chair and finished the rest of the show.
And you got to give Caleb Observational Banter a big shout out. Like I know that there were like a few incidences where he like forgot to unmute coming out of the package, but I mean, there was a lot fucking going on, and he was kind of thrown right into the fucking fire, and like for a while there. So it's like you got to give him his props. You got to shout him out. I mean, and he's also, now he's going to have to step up and, kind of step in for Chase, at least for a little bit. We got these Black Label shows and,
right.
some who knows where Chase is at as far as, being able to come to these shows and drive and, Caleb may have to at the very least pick him up and drive him. I don't know, but you got to give both those guys shout outs. Like very, very thankfully they're both located close to each other in the Youngstown area. But
right. Yeah, I mean, everybody works hard, not to try and single anybody or say somebody works harder than the other, but Observational Banter, he's still a student. He hasn't graduated yet. He goes above and beyond, as do a lot, but Caleb, you got to give a shout out, goes above and beyond. And, like you said, mistakes happen as, somebody, I do a job back there. It's tough. Nobody wants to make mistakes. Caleb, he knows what he did, and he's already said on his own podcast that he knows what to fix and how to do it. And it was also, it was a little bit of a technical, a tools error because he wasn't able to use certain headphones and stuff. He was at a little bit of a disadvantage. I got to take up for him. It's tough to do audio stuff when you can't hear. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he knows what he needs to fix.
There's some AirPods that went dead and, he just kind of kept rolling with it.
So, I mean, he's literally already wearing, the person in that chair already wears like 3 pairs of headphones to listen to the referees, the production, on the headphones. You got to listen to the stream on the headphones. There's like 3 different sets of headphones you got to wear at any given moment sitting in that chair. So, yeah, it's a tough job, that's for sure. And shouts to Caleb and Chase for handling it.
Yeah, and I mean, you also got to shout out, Patty and Jeremy, who were just working so hard, getting people healthy and safe after matches. Chase was getting medical attention within seconds. Same with Ziggy, Josh Bishop. You know what I mean? Like
Tom was bleeding, had a big cut on his head too.
They had people hooked up to IVs, rehydrating them, just like, I mean, I was like, what the fuck is AIW become? Like, to me, I was just like, wow, like, this is, like, the draw is great, and, you know what I mean? Everything's going good, but, like, this is awesome. Like, you cannot say enough great things about Patty and Jeremy for just how they take care of everybody. I mean, like, just making sure people are hydrated, like, just checking everything, like anybody that has anything bothering them, like they go and see them. Like it's just like they're working so hard at every single show. Like I told, like, Ziggy is just like a mess, like match 2 or whatever it was. Like, I don't know, like, or 3 or whenever. And I was like, geez, Jeremy, you usually don't have to work this early in the show. And he's like, it's Absolution. That's what he said.
Yeah. That rocks. Yeah, big shout outs as always to Patty and Jeremy. But I mean, you got to really think about that. Everyone, the ghouls out there like to see the blood and the stuff like that, but somebody has to touch them and clean them up, and that's not an easy job. And
I mean, that stuff like that don't happen everywhere, and like
right. Oh yeah,
there's plenty of AIW shows where none of that shit happened. It was go rinse your head off in the sink and put a paper towel on it, like. So, that is just an incredible advancement in, everything. And, they come and, volunteer their time and, it's amazing.
For the love of the business, baby.
Yeah. And, another shout out, you gotta give Eric Bischoff a shout out. Could not have been fucking cooler. Like, just such a could not have been a cooler fucking dude ever. Before the show, like, we're just sitting on the U-Haul drinking beers and just talking shop about the industry, and he's asking about the AIW business, and like I'm asking him questions, and fucking the funniest thing, like, do you know RJ, student RJ?
Yeah.
Okay, so like RJ's out there, and he's just like, yeah, like, thank you, Thorne, for everything. And like, it's just me, Eric Bischoff, and RJ. And I'm like, RJ, where the fuck did you come from? And like, he's just been there, while me and Eric, like, listening to me and Eric talk. And he was just like, yeah, thank you for everything you do. He's like, also, thank you, because today's my birthday. And,
yeah, I heard you telling that story.
And like, Eric Bischoff goes, today's your birthday? He goes, yeah. Busts in a full happy birthday serenade, and then when it gets to the name, he kind of looks at me and I say RJ, and he goes RJ. Wasn't like a quick one. He sang the whole song to completion, and like for RJ's birthday, it was so fucking awesome.
That's great.
And then he goes, "This is the shit you should be videotaping right here." It's me singing happy birthday to RJ.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the type of stuff, that it's just great. You don't get that anywhere else, man. AIW, and you got to, that's Eric Bischoff, him to be in a good mood like that. I'm sure there, is plenty of meet and greets where if guys not in, the guys like girls, whatever, they're not in a good mood, it doesn't make the meet and greet go so well. They just sign your thing and they go off. I know a lot of people were in that line talking to him for a while, man. He chatted it up, with everybody. He had a great time. Yeah. He was
so awesome. And like, I can, I know that, we used to kind of report, like, it's been a while since we've had a new king. Eric Bischoff is the new AIW king of the meet and greets, the largest total in history of us doing the meet and greets. So, shout out again to the fans for participating in that. The new king, Eric Bischoff. And another fucking thing that Eric Bischoff did that was awesome is when Chase got hurt, and obviously it was in the middle of the match, and they had to kind of work on the fly. As soon as the match was over, Eric Bischoff got up from his table and came to Gorilla and pulled all those guys that were in the scramble aside and told them what a fucking awesome job they did working on the fly. Yeah. Because Chase got hurt, and they were able to kind of work through it and communicate and get back on track. And that meant, I mean, you have to imagine that meant so much to all those guys. Oh, sure. The five of those guys were, Eric Bischoff, he like specifically came back there to tell them, like, fucking, you guys should all be proud of yourselves. Your colleague got hurt, but you guys kept on with the show and got it back on track and got through it and got to the end. And, it didn't look all that bad. And he was just like, everybody give yourselves a round of applause. Like, that was awesome. And then he went over and he checked on Chase Oliver. And then before he left, he came back to check on Chase Oliver again, and like took a picture with Chase and like, just told him how bad he was feeling for him and how he was pulling for him to be okay. Just could not have been a cooler fucking dude, Eric Bischoff.
Absolutely. Yeah, wow. New king of the meet and greets. That's interesting. We'll have to keep that in mind for the next one. But I don't know who's going to top Bischoff. That'll be interesting to see. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just such a great day overall, I would say. I mean, even, there were a couple surprise things that fell through that, were not really implications of the show. And like, even Pedro and I kept going like, what's going to go wrong today? Because like everything was set up so early, like fucking like the whole arena, which sometimes they're fucking setting that thing up until fucking doors open. Everything was set up at like 1:30.
Yeah, it was wild.
It was just, I got there and I was just like, it was dead silent. Everything was set up and it was dead silence. And like, you were there and Dom and Pedro were there, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Where is everybody? Why is it so quiet? Why is everything done? Like, this is so weird.
Yeah, they had sent everyone off for lunch super early because we got everything done just so quickly. And then you showed up and you're like, wait, where the fuck is everybody? Wait, everything's done? And I'm like, yeah, everyone's gone eat. And you're like, holy shit. You're like, this is some real quiet before the storm type shit. Like, what's going to go wrong? Because everything's already ready. I was like, don't fucking say that.
I mean, just like, and then like, fucking, like, it was just like all this good shit happening. And then like the Tadmor Shrine is like, hey guys, I don't know if this is an inconvenience or not, but we're going to all plastic. So we have like 50 tables and you guys have a U-Haul. Would you be able to just take them and get rid of them for us?
The tables?
Yes, every wooden table.
Right.
So like then they gave us 50 wooden tables.
Yeah.
And it's just like what?
And
what the fuck is what is going on today?
They opened that side room with the bar and stuff.
That was awesome,
which I thought
too.
was awesome. They had the fucking stream going in there. So God forbid you did have to go run and grab a beer. You know, it was right around the corner there. It wasn't far, but they had the fucking stream going on. You could see exactly what was happening. You're not missing anything. That was awesome in my opinion. That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool. Like they were just so on board with the event. I mean, it was just like I said, like Paige was gonna be mad because I wasn't supposed to reveal that we had those tables because all the wrestlers want to fucking break the tables and you gotta conserve them because they're like gold these days.
Right.
But I mean, it's just like just fucking shit like that. I was just like, man, that was fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like the stream was on in the bar, like. They moved where they sold the beer within the arena space. Like then they had the fucking full bar setup going down the hall. Like there were people in there just chilling, watching the stream, drinking at the bar instead of being in the show. Like it was just it was such a cool setup.
Yeah, it was great for sure. Well, we've been going here about an hour, so I don't know how much else you want to say about the show as a whole. I think we've said most of our thoughts. Anything we missed here?
No, I mean, I'm sure we'll get to it when we do like a full recap, but I just wanted to kind of, I guess we really didn't have a plan. We planned on talking about Absolution, and then we didn't. We just talked about all kind of Absolution adjacent things. We didn't really get to the fucking meat and the bones of it.
I think a lot of people come here for this type of stuff, though. I've had a lot of people kind of say that to me at the shows here or there, that there's some other shows that do preview shows, review shows, the IW Guide, the Cheers, all those are out there. There's review shows. I know people like to hear us and the AIW kind of roundtable take care of it too, but I think a lot of people come here for kind of the stuff we're talking about now, the behind the scenes kind of that type of behind the curtain, a little bit of stuff to, really kind of know, what happened. A lot of people go to the show, but there's a lot that goes on, behind the scenes that, of a wrestling show that, is not always at the forefront. I think we're one of the few podcasts / companies, whatever, that kind of puts it all out there for everyone, and I mean, that's a credit to you. You're the one who allows this type of shit. A lot of people, a lot of performers and promoters and shit don't want anybody to know about this type of shit, and here we are, telling you every week.
Well, I think it's just like you got to put like, from my perspective, is like you got to put out how much goes into it, because like so many people are just like, it's just indie wrestling. And it's just like, yeah, the shit like that does exist, but it ain't here, brother. Like, there's a lot that fucking goes on. Like, it is a fucking full-time endeavor for a lot of people to get through that fucking 3-hour fucking show, So, there's just a lot that goes on, and, even more so now that, production has been in-house now for almost a year. Like, just so much, there's just so much more to it, but it's just like, you gotta... I think people got to know, like I get these fucking emails all the time. Like, hey, are you looking for anybody on the writing team? Like, it's not a fucking writing team, dude. Like, it's my fucking brain.
Team.
Like,
right.
It's my brain. Like, it's the team. You know what I mean? Like, people give me ideas and I go, maybe move this, do this. Like, it's just like, but there's so much other shit that goes on, like, we don't even get into like the promotional aspect, like actually trying to sell tickets and like trying to fill the fucking shows. Like, we didn't ever get into that fucking part either, but like there's just so much that goes into it to produce this 3 hours or 6 hours or whatever it is of live wrestling a month.
It's like the traveling circus, man.
Yeah, I mean, it really
the dark
is.
Carnival, if you will.
Whoop whoop. I think I've been talking to Violent J a lot. We might be working a lot more.
I love it. I love the idea that we got to bring them in. We got to bring them back. I know a handful of people, said that. I know we did do the meet and greet with ICP before, but I feel like there's a lot more people back.
I just don't even know. Like, at that point, like I can only like they're kind of hot again right now. I don't even know like what I would have to charge. Like, I hope they just show up one day, or like something.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm at, because like what we paid them before and probably what they would cost now is probably like astronomical, because 2019 they were kind of you know, they were still popular, but like, you know, they weren't doing a lot. And like, I think we kind of caught them at a, you know, kind of an off time, like in the winter time, like, cause like I look at like what we charged and like what they charge for a meet and greet now. And I'm just fuck. Like, like I think it's $150.
The Juggalo economy, like we talked about, is a wild.
Yeah, I think they get $150 meet and greet. So it's like, and like, so I'm like, fuck, like I can only imagine, you know, what that, you know, like what that would work out, what their expectation is now for each, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm gonna keep trying to, you know, move my budding friendship with Violent J forward, and we'll see what happens.
Love it. Well, big shouts to Violent J, the Duke. Hell yeah.
Duke of the Wicked. Shouts to Shaggy Toot Up too, but he doesn't text me, so.
Right.
Very nice guy.
Couple quick questions from speaking of EVP of Health, Jeremy. He is always hitting me with some questions. Appreciate that. He was curious. I think we kind of covered this a little bit, but he was curious if the Gathering of the Juggalos was recorded. I'm assuming he means Bloody Mania 16, and if it's going to be released at all on Fight or Patreon.
You did record it on my phone, like a one-shot phone angle. Violent J was hit me up saying that they also had somebody roaming with a camera. I know that they were trying to get that going like right before showtime. I was like, dude, like if somebody would have told me, I could have brought a full fucking setup, you know? But,
right.
Because he was asking me if I could get like Wadsworth and either Dustin and Zagura up together with him to drop a new commentary track on it.
Oh, nice.
And I said, yeah, absolutely. So they may be releasing it somehow that way. You know, he was supposed to kind of have a little meeting about, you know, where Psychopathic Business is going to go, you know, for the rest of the year into 2024. Because, you know, they're still kind of like in this, like coming out of COVID, like they just kind of did the Gathering and Hollow Wicked the last kind of 2 years. So I think now they're kind of figuring out where things are headed. And I think, you know, he wants to do a little bit more JCW stuff. He's been kind of happy with the new kind of crew that I've weaved in a little bit, it seems. So he seems very jazzed up to kind of, you know, get it out there again. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because they used to do a lot more shows. They used to do stuff at like their headquarters and stuff on like random Tuesdays and stuff, but they would film that stuff and, you know, put it out for their Patreon and yada, yada. But yeah, I mean, it just goes to show again, like you said, the ICP is just huge supporters of independent wrestling. And it's just, you know, you can't thank them enough for that type of shit because, you know, this shit costs a lot of money and a lot of time, and there's not that many people that really want to, you know, invest that kind of stuff back into independent wrestling, and ICP really does.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they do not have to, and they do. So, I mean, I have some cell phone footage. I may kind of try to cut it together from what you filmed on my phone. I know maybe a couple things missed here and there when my password locked, but
yeah, there was a couple times here and there I just accidentally hit the phone. You know, it's hard, you know, running around there with the iPhone in my hand. Also, I'm not normally used to like filming and stuff, so that was like a first time for me, so some of the angles might not be the best or this or that, but learn on the fly as we go, right?
Right.
Another quick one from Jeremy. He was curious for the Fonzie tournament and Wrestle Rager. Do you have any type of meet and greet guests lined up for those? Anything you're going to be announcing?
No. The Great Lakes Geek Fest people were very adamant that they wanted more money going towards the AIW talent as opposed to a meet and greet. So we're going to honor those wishes, you know, and that's what we're going to do. They did not want a meet and greet. They wanted more money into the, you know, the AIW fold, and, you know, didn't want us, you know, paying out for, you know, all these stars and these big expenses. So, which I thought was pretty cool, you know.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to do that. And then for Wrestle Rager, like, you know, with Tommy Rich canceling last minute last year, and, you know, like Guido was, you know, obviously a blast, but I kind of think that like that show kind of may have its own kind of aura of its own to where it may not need a star. I think maybe the atmosphere does it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Wrestle Rager is just an absolute shit show Wrestle Rager is the meet and greet itself. Just going to that place and seeing the show there is, in my opinion, enough of an attraction itself. It's unlike any other AIW show that we do. It's just a crazy time, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
and I think I'm just gonna let it roll this year, and I want to see what happens. I think that I think the show has more than established itself as to what it is and why it's fun and why people love it. I don't necessarily know if the meet and greets add to it or not. I mean, they certainly don't hurt it, but I think that I want to see if it, how it does, straight up as it is, and kind of go from there. So that's my plan. And then to kind of, kick in, special guests back into JLit weekend, which, we are going to move forward with in September, two-nighter. From the sounds of it, it's going to be in the big room. We're talking about, selling those tables and things like that. Those tables are going to, from what I understand, they will be more expensive, than the GA ticket, but it does include 4 seats with the table. So I'm waiting to hear back on that from them, and then hopefully we'll get those tickets on sale soon. We are not going to do any weekend passes for JLit. I'm just going to throw that out there now with the hopes to keep the Ticketmaster fee down, because from what I understand, it is dependent on the base price, and then that makes it more. So we're just going to go all a la carte, all 3 shows, JLit night 1, Fresh Meat 3, and JLit night 2. And we've kind of bumped ticket prices down, and I know you kind of reviewed a little bit of that. I showed you my plan, so we're trying to make it affordable for everybody to kind of pack those 3 shows.
Yeah, I really think the ticket price as a whole was good and is a fair price, especially for that room and just kind of the comfort that it brings. But those tables, I mean, that is an absolute steal. If you're I kind of need my space person, but I like to be close, those tables, I mean, you're going to want to jump on that because it's 4 seats. Like you said, you get your own little, it's not a VIP, but you kind of get your own little area there at the table. You know what I mean? You're not going to have other people hovering around you in GA where, you can get some hovering going on, and that, people just start showing up in your space in GA. Those tables, man, that is prime time seating, in my opinion, and I think that people should take it.
I know. I mean, you told I don't want to blow your spot up, but you told me that I should bump them up more for how premium they are. But
it's a killer deal for what the price is. It's a killer deal. If that was me, I would be buying it and finding the other 3 to sit with me, because it's a killer deal for, like I said, the space and the area that you get there. It's very close. You're not far off the ring. It's a perfect sight line. Those tables are killer deals. All right, well, that was kind of it for question stuff. I know we kind of didn't throw the questions out there. I figured we had kind of a lot to discuss today with Absolution and all that. So, anything else you want to get to before we get out of here?
No, man, I'm good.
All right, well, as we said, we're going to try and do a full Absolution recap here, maybe kind of an AIW roundtable, so look for that. We've got some Patreon stuff coming out for sure. I recorded some Patreon stuff recently at Absolution. We're going to have a little Q&A kind of with Dr. Dan and Trey. We got some gathering talk with Big Chuck Stone and Clemens is in there. We had a few run-ins from people. Caleb, Derek came running in. Wes there was a lot of names in there, so definitely sign up for the Patreon if you're not a Patreon yet. A lot of stuff coming down the works for the rest of the summer for that. Really kind of getting into gear with that on my end of that. But for AIW, for John Thorne, for myself, we'll see you next time. Thanks.